Are we under capture by the political elites? And what is the way out?
I think number one, we have a very, this is the refrain that Kenya has a very progressive constitution. The only country in Africa that has a more progressive constitution than Kenya is South Africa. And that is true. But ultimately, a constitution is a piece of paper. It's not, if a people and their leaders choose to ignore it, then it doesn't actually make that much of a difference. I mean, there's discussion now of changing that constitution 10 years after it was promulgated, despite the fact that we have not implemented that one which we promulgated in 2010 in its fullness. So we talk about Chapter 6 of the Constitution on integrity and leadership. When that chapter was written, after it went through our MPs' hands, it was a very different chapter. It was completely mangled and did not express the spirit with which it was written. So I would say we have a Chapter 6 of the Constitution on leadership and integrity only in writing. What the reality is actually very, very different. It is also true that the leaders who were most opposed to this constitution are the ones running the country right now. So it's not so surprising to me that we've had difficulty in implementing this constitution, that the judiciary is seemingly continuously at loggerheads with the executive, that parliament has been castrated in many ways, and many of the constitutional bodies that were created in this new constitution and worked quite well at the start, whether you're talking about the Constitutional Implementation Commission finished its mandate, but we have a Human Rights Commission within the government. All these agencies, NCIC has popped up now in election season. Thank you very much. I mean, where were you? Where have you been for a few years? Suddenly popped up, which undermines their credibility. This is an important constitutional body. You should be doing this work throughout.
Correct.
When you pop up just around when politics is heating up, people begin to think that you are pushing one side's agenda. And I'm not speaking for any side, but I said you've got to be honest and frank. But so what we have, I think Professor Yashpal Gai has been reported to have made these remarks, that Kenya is a very unusual country where the people imposed on their leaders a constitution. The leaders actually didn't want this particular constitution, and they fought it. And we had two constitutional referendums on this constitution that were very contentious. After the 2005 referendum, we had serious violence following the 2007 elections. And so I think the question to ask is that when we talk about corruption in this country, we're talking the top level corruption. I won't name names, but I know you know them. No more than about 10, 15 families who are at the top of some of the most egregious corruption in this country, in terms of if they're not directly participating in it, they are facilitating it. And the question to ask is this: what kind of future do you want? Where do you want to live? Because we are all going to have to live here together.
Yes.
Your children, your grandchildren will be teased in school, let alone the fact that we have a small elite that behaves as if they will own tomorrow as well. So what they do today does not matter.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. They can do anything. And so these are the questions which I ask them. The question has to be asked. There's been a lot of debate over the past couple of weeks about remarks made by the MP, Mr. Honorable Sudi, MP, and Mr. Ngeno and others, about the president's mother. And I think that the more fundamental question that needs to be asked, while one says, yes, we should, this is political season, and people will say things, and how we react is indicative of the general climate that we want to have. If we want to have a climate that is where people can speak and speak openly, and if you find offense with what they have said, the matter can be dealt with in a manner that is not aimed at causing disaffection and despondency in a large part of the population. I heard you saying, Mr. Sudi, I watched online. I think there were hundreds of many policemen outside his house at night. Bit confusing. Why? This is somebody hata anaweza kupigiwa simu au andikiwe barua kuja hapa. Fika hapa. I don't carry any agenda for Mr. Sudi, but I said when you do things like that, it seems to be calculated to cause a political effect. Yet all these people are going to have to live together, at the end of the day. But when they divide us Kenyans, it makes it more difficult, and therefore makes our future as we go into elections now likely to be more tumultuous and difficult, especially given our economic circumstances. So the choice that remains for, I said, there are not many families, is for them to decide what will guarantee their wealth and their peace.
Their ill-gotten wealth.
Let's say what will give them peace? Is it keeping the knee on the neck, as you put it?
Yes.
Or is it the Kenya Constitution?
I can breathe.
Yes. Is it the Kenyan Constitution that will protect them? And that's a choice that we're at now. Whether they can flip the Constitution so that it serves only them, or if it serves everyone equally, and therefore we are all equal in defense, in being defended by this Constitution and this set of rules and regulations. That's a choice we make now, and it's, I think, an important one for Kenya and for our posterity. If we don't fix it, then I'm afraid that as we go into the next elections and after, we will have an unstable period.
So